All right. And so we are live now. Hi, everybody. It's Katie Harris, owner and CEO of Nursepreneurs. And I am here with David Brown from what's the name of your company, David?
DEP Medical Incorporated.
Yeah, okay. I cannot remember for the life of me. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
But I adore David. And I've worked with him now for it's been almost a year now,
Yeah,
David.
yeah.
It's crazy. All right. So today we're talking about medical device. David just got back from an aesthetics conference. If you guys went to Aesthetic Next, he was there. Maybe you saw him, but if you didn't, he's going to share with you his amazing presentation and his device and how you can benefit from it. So, David, take it away.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending. Again, my name is David Brown. I'm the CEO and founder of DEP Medical Incorporated. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to talk to you tonight about my technology. And it's kind of a soup to nuts talk. It's going to talk about the science. It's going to talk a little bit about education, the utilization, and then we've got some brand new exciting before and after pictures to share with you as well. So here we go. So DEP, what is it? It's short for dermal electrical poration. Dermal electrical poration, or the DEP system, is a Class 2 FDA cleared biophysical alternative to infuse high weight molecular modalities into the dermis without the use of a needle. It is cutting edge technology. It uses pulsed electrical energies to open up the glycoaminoglycan channels that we all have in our dermis and drive products as deep as 5 millimeters. These products must be water soluble and under 2 million Dalton, which quite frankly, we have yet to find anything that is anywhere near 2 million Dalton. So again, the mechanism of action, opening up the glycoaminoglycan channels, driving product in. It is similar to something you may or may not have heard of in your training, iontophoresis. Dermal electrical poration is iontophoresis perfected. Whereas iontophoresis had negative and positive charged wands, everything is self-contained in a single unit with dermal electrical poration. So the energy is consistently pulsed. So the current passes through the extracellular matrix. The long-chain glycoaminoglycan channels orient themselves. So we create those channels. They're opening up and allow the micromolecules to be delivered through the skin. The trick is, compared to iontophoresis, there is no cellular injury. So there's no abnormalities of the membrane due to the low current used. There's also no endothelial damage or microvascular damage as well. This is a great picture. I think it speaks for itself as the device passes over the skin, opening up the channels and pushing product into the dermis. Again, kind of the same thing, but it talks about the negative and positive charges, that there's no damage to the cells as they're being driven into the dermis. That's particularly important for things, especially in regenerative medicine, like exosomes, which are very popular these days. Again, labeled cosmetic and topical, but this system driving them into the dermis is in bounds. And again, just a little science there. So just a real quick summary. We're using the skin's water channels. We're increasing the permeability to allow transdermal delivery of micromolecules and macromolecules. It's a controlled pulse delivery. There's no need to modify an ionic solution or even ground the patient, which you needed to do with iontophoresis, no skin patch, etc. And it can infuse modalities up to 2 million in Dalton weight. And again, we have yet to find anything that's even in the ballpark of that. So the carrier mediums may be introduced to volumize certain modalities. That's fancy speak for we generally use hyaluronic acid to improve our conductivity to help deliver other modalities into the dermis. And we'll get to a list of those in a second. Here's a potential use. And I'm just going to shut my mouth and let you all read a little bit. Okay. Now some of the deliverable drugs. And the interesting thing about this slide is I'm constantly changing it as things are being introduced into the marketplace. This weekend at Aesthetic Next in Dallas, Scott Callahan got up on stage and they were talking about the pitfalls of injecting skin boosters, the PDRNs, things like that, Inexperienced injectors are having trouble. They're causing bumps and granulomas, if you will. And of course, none of these products are labeled by the FDA as injectable. They are all cosmetic and topical. Scott frankly said, this device, the DEP platform, solves all of that, because not only does it infuse the products into the dermis, but it does so in a uniform application. I've trademarked that term. It's predictive permeation. So in other words, it's kind of like having a roller of paint and a drywall. You take that paint, you put the paint on the roller, and you run up and down a wall. You know that you're getting a consistent coating of that paint on the wall. It's the same theory with dermal electrical poration. The device is kind of like a pitcher of water. Your skin is like a glass of water. So as your skin is filling up with the modality that you are utilizing, the device will signal to you that it's full and time to move on. So your patient will get a uniform application across all of the dermis. Again, just some quick pictures of hyaluronic acid infused and then taken immediately after. Greg Chernoff is my medical director. He's currently conducting a study, 50 patients across all 6 Fitzpatricks. He is not only utilizing before and after pictures, but a technology called Quantificare. So Quantificare, whether you've heard of it or not, is one of those. It can measure wrinkles, pore size, and various other factors in the skin. You can see the improvement, not with the naked eye, but the Quantificare will pick up on it. So as you can see, the wrinkles, improvement, the biostimulating infusion with evenness, improvement, pore size reduced. And again, across all of these with the evenness, the wrinkles, oiliness, the red areas versus the brown areas. And again, these are after one treatment. Generally, he uses hyaluronic acid, Botox, and exosomes mixed in a concoction and infused into the dermis. This is an acne patient. I really like these pictures, but I got better ones at the end of the presentation. So as you can see, I'll go back real quick. You can see after 2 treatments, 60 days post, she's completely cleared up. Hair restoration, $4.7 billion industry next year in the United States. If you're not getting on board with hair restoration and regenerative medicine, you're missing the boat. The DEP will be able to introduce regenerative products into the scalp without the use of a needle. Currently, the only options available are taking small 30, 32 gauge needles, as most of you know if you're doing this, and injecting hundreds of sites into the scalp. Not the most pleasant thing to have done. The DEP takes that out of the equation. And these are the results. So this is an abdominoplasty case. She still had some crepey or creepy skin, if you will. So she was infused with hyaluronic acid, but heavily infused with copper peptide. Copper peptide has anti-aging properties and is really soothing to the crepey skin. And as you can see, the result speaks for itself. So, features and benefits for my audience. First and foremost, the DEP system will enhance your current cosmetic offering. It's not designed to replace anything. It's designed to aid you in everything else that you're doing. There's no anesthetic required either. I like to tell people you can do 2 treatments with a DEP in the time it takes you to do 1 microneedling, thus doubling your income or increasing, patient loads. You're also able to infuse a wide variety of modalities. And I must tell you, in all honesty, the list continues to grow every day. I was just at this meeting and people were coming up to me wanting to know if their product would work with my device. It was an amazing thing to have happen. But most importantly, for your patients, there's no erythema, there's no edema, there's no risk of infection either. There's no blood. So it can be used in conjunction with several other treatments. If you wish to anesthetize, we recommend that you use an aqueous lidocaine ahead of a very light microneedling is primarily where it's used, or PDO threads. Post-procedure, if you've got someone that had laser or something a little more invasive or aggressive, you can soothe their dermis with hyaluronic acid and exosomes and cut the healing time in half. The other thing is the disposables. Microneedling needles are running anywhere from $40 to $85. Mine is $30. So it costs you $30 to plus your materials to do a case. The other thing is iontophoresis or dermal electroporation does not create any wounds. So again, no biohazards. One device does several things. So we have components for the face, we have components for the hair, and we have components for the body as well. So you have the absolute freedom to create whatever package you would like to offer your patients as well. And there are very interesting and creative packages out there that I share with folks, and then they take it and build it from there based on their clientele and their business model. And the other thing that's really nice about this is it's safe to use on all 6 Fitzpatrick scale types. So to put it simply, the DEP is a practice differentiating device. I'm speaking to an audience tonight. I'm sure you have microneedling. I'm sure you have some sort of capital equipment. But if you threw a rock down the street from your office, how many other people have that microneedling pen? How many other people have that hydro system? Again, this is not a me too. This is a brand new technology, and you could be the first on your block to have it. So a couple basic treatments. And this is interesting because this evolves too. But so a basic hydrating treatment, just infusing a pharmaceutical grade hyaluronic acid into the face neck décolleté. If you really wanted to give somebody some rejuvenation or perhaps help them with hyperpigmentation, we recommend that you bring in nitric oxide, apply it digitally, along with pharmaceutical grade hyaluronic acid. But if you really wanted to go high end, you would also digitally apply exosomes to the treatment area, then apply the hyaluronic acid with perhaps Botox and infuse that into the dermis. So a microneedling facial treatment, like I said, aqueous lidocaine pre, post microneedling, you could use, again, exosomes. As you know, people are painting them on after a microneedling treatment. I'm not going to get into my personal opinion on how effective that is. The exosomes are very tiny. They do penetrate the epidermis. My device will drive it down 3 to 5 millimeters deep where it's really needed for healing and to be more effective. Hyperhidrosis. Mark Nestor did a study for me 3 summers ago. We put 50 units of Botox in each axillary. It takes about 2 to 3 minutes per side, and the patient is done. And we found that it was as efficacious as injecting them 20 to 30 times with a needle. And he did it in about 10% of the time to do the other way. And PRP, hair restoration. I'm probably going to be taking this slide out and putting in exosome hair restoration. And I also am an exclusive provider of a Chagat mushroom therapy for hair restoration as well. The bottom line is the PRP can drive anything that we need to have go into the scalp, whether it's PRP, exosomes, or this new Chagat mushroom therapy, which I will be getting into by October 1st. So again, the biggest thing to remember with this is there's no needles, no pain, no downtime. That's your marketing strategy with your patients. Microneedling is a very popular, but it's really not that well received. I mean, I have heard statistics where maybe 60 to 65% of patients return for a secondary treatment. My device, the patients will return every time. So a couple of real world experiences, and these are from providers like Katie, who have purchased my equipment, fallen in love with it, turned into KOLs for me. They're blasting this stuff all over the Instagram. If you're not following me, it's DEP_medical. Please, by all means, take a look. And the people are sending me in the before and afters as they're trying all of these new technologies that we're getting inundated with, such as PDRN and all of our skin boosters. So again, the technology, it's incredible, it's new, it's disruptive and has multiple utilizations. We are just scratching the surface of what this technology can do. Every week I hear somebody doing something different. It's getting a little crazy. Again, pain-free, no downtime. Your patients can get up off your table, wash their face off, and go to a cocktail party. It's a small device. It's about the size of a laptop and is very portable. It can be moved from room to room, very easy to clean and maintain. And the ROI, as I spoke earlier, you can do 2 for 1 with microneedling. So some of our challenges, the results sometimes are not instantaneous and take time. We live in a world of I want what I want it now. I get that. But this is one of these trade-offs where there's no pain, no trauma, but the gain will be experienced as the treatment goes on. So there is that notion out there that trauma and inflammation lead to a better outcome. I don't believe that's necessarily true. The other problem, the challenge that I have is that there's an awareness of iontophoresis and dermal electroporation, but people don't understand it from a scientific level. So, and they also believe that they can obtain the same results with current modalities such as microneedling and RF microneedling. Again, contraindications, there's really 3 that I like to tell people: pupil, pacemaker, pregnancy. You stay out of the orbit of the eye. Anybody with any type of pacemaker is out of bounds. And of course, pregnancy speaks for itself. So, and again, this I'm going to remove. Back in the day when thread lifts were first coming out, they did have a slight metal component to them. That no longer is valid. So let's see. And again, the pre-treatment, it's simply removing all makeup, all jewelry, clean your face. And then of course, you'll take an alcohol wipe, glycolic wipe, or witch hazel. Just once again, one thorough cleaning before you begin. So again, I'd like to talk to you that the new gold standard in hair restoration and facial rejuvenation is the DEP. Let's see here. That's the end of the presentation. Okay. I had some before and afters on another presentation. Katie, can I back out of this and grab that presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. All you have to do is stop. Yep, there you go. You got it.
Sorry.
Yeah, and while you're doing that,
we can start fielding questions.
Yeah, we can start fielding. So yeah, definitely put your questions in. And my first kind of question was, because you talked about the hyaluronic acid, Botox, and exosomes, and how exactly is Botox used with this machine? Because the tip is about 2 inches wide, right? So, you're not putting Botox into the glabella, right? Like how are you using it?
What we are doing, can you guys see my screen as I'm bouncing through this real quick?
No, not at all.
Okay. So I'm trying to think how I would get this to our audience.
So you would just present again and then share screen.
Oh, okay. Let me back. Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Present again. Okay. Thank you, Katie.
That's what I'm here for.
Here we go. Okay. So, so let me answer that question real quick, Katie. So what happens is the Botox is actually mixed with the hyaluronic acid. And as you know, my proprietary hyaluronic acid is a 3% high molecular weight grade. So it stays more superficial, which is where you want the Botox superficially up onto the papillary dermis. It really helps with the reduction of pores, and it's a different mechanism of action rather than it being injected into a muscle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Katie, go ahead.
I was going to say, how many units would you use of Botox in that situation?
No more than 30 or 40. It doesn't take much.
Okay.
So, and I'll kind of roll through these examples. So this is Jennifer. I humbly refer to her as patient 00. She lives here in the So this was Jennifer. The before was last Labor Day. The next picture, and just so you know, Jennifer was treated with nitric oxide digitally applied, exosomes digitally applied, and then I used copper peptide and a 3% hyaluronic acid and I infused that into her dermis and drove all the other products deeper. So 2 months after that, we treated her again, and as you can see from the first treatment to the last treatment, the crow's feet, the oral comic, or the perioral lines, everything is erased basically, but her skin is much smoother. It looks tauter, it looks cleaner, and she's very happy. And she finds me about every 2 months and gets another treatment. So what she gets for being patient 00. So I'm going to give credit to my friend Scott Callahan. All of you, we spoke a little bit earlier about skin boosters. This is actually the Skin Beeve skin booster. These are before and afters, and these pictures were taken right after. So Scott probably used a little bit of nitric oxide, as I recommend that for everybody, to increase vascularity. And it also helps the skin be more receptive to the modalities that you're infusing. But Scott went ahead and treated her straight up with the Skin Beeve, and you can see the results for themselves. I think I want to say this is no more than a half hour after he finished up with her.
I'm sorry, David. What is Skin Beeve? What is that? Skin
Beeve is I think it's an Allergan product. It's a skin booster. It's labeled topical and cosmetic. Many people are injecting it, and they're running into problems with granuloma and bumpiness in the skin. And the point is, everybody does a lot of stuff off label. I'm not here to lecture or to judge, but my device solves that problem, and it provides you a mechanism of action of actually putting these products into the dermis in a uniform application, and then you don't have to worry about any of those things.
Okay. Before you go on patient 0, there's a question asking if she had any other treatments besides.
Absolutely not. She is she's a granola, if that makes any sense. Yeah, she's actually my nutritionist, and clearly I'm not following her instructions. But she has had nothing, and she doesn't get anything. She had a hydrofacial like some time ago and absolutely hated it. And I said, here, let me just do this on you, and there we go. The rest is history. So,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, I can't see the question, so if there's something pops up, Katie, yell at me.
Yep,
Okay?
absolutely.
All right, no worries. So again, before and afters, and then a little bit closer. Scott got in there. Look at those lines under the periorbital lines underneath the eye on the side. They're gone, and her skin is brighter. That's what the nice thing about these skin boosters. They really enhance the skin, and you can see the brightness come out. This is a great picture. I love this. This young lady, her name is Carla with a K. This was taken in Albuquerque, New Mexico in July. So we were doing our training, and she was an employee. She presented. She had very active cystic acne. So nitric oxide digitally applied. We then applied 2.5 mLs of exosomes, and then we infused. We took a fem and married 4 mLs of my hyaluronic acid and 30 units of Botox. The pictures were taken the next day. The results speak for themselves. As a follow-up, Nurse Tanya Tuggle out in Albuquerque, this was July. August, she followed up with the same regimen, but switched gears and used a salicylic acid compound in conjunction with the hyaluronic to continue. And then this month, I believe she's going back to the Botox again to kind of quell the sebaceous glands, if you will. Because Carla has extremely oily skin, as you can see from those initial pictures, and she is very happy and very pleased.
Wow, and use that on active cystic acne.
Yeah.
I'm taking down these recipes. Sorry.
And I'll tell them all. We're on our website. We're developing when you purchase these things, you're going to get access to a whole protocol section, and it's going to have recipes. What's your problem? Here's your solution. That's kind of what we're going for. So I put this in here as well. This is Heather Callahan down in Washington, D.C. She has one of these Visia machines. And this is one of this is actually Samantha, I think is her name. So you can see she put her in the Visia. She saw 15% improvement on her pore size, and her wrinkles were 20. And again, the machine showed a 25% improvement as well. Redness 23%. Okay, and this is Tara. Tara had a simple concoction of just hyaluronic acid, the 3%. We were just kind of playing around to see what we could do with that under eye look. As you guys can see, it needs no explanation. And after 2 treatments, 30 days apart, that's what we came up with. And usually, I know the next question that's going to get asked is what's a typical treatment regimen? And really, what it boils down to is depending on what presents. We usually recommend that you treat the patient every 30 days until you get some baseline of correction, and then it becomes kind of up to you. But most likely, like a quarterly maintenance program is usually what we recommend and what we find to be most effective. And patients go along with that. They like the look. They want to keep the look. It's not painful. To be truthful with you, I had a lady fall asleep in Tulsa, Oklahoma while we were treating her one day. So yeah, you never know what's going to happen. So again, I kind of went through this on the other slide. Yeah. So, and I apologize for this. I think I must have sent Christina the wrong slide deck, and I do apologize for that.
Well, do you want to put up the other slide that talks about yes, the price, and we can go over that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that real quick. Okay. And I want to go to I want to get out to my computer. So let me open that up. Yes, because we have special pricing for your group, as you know. There we go. Get back. It's not there. Shoot. Okay, Katie, I opened up a file on my,
Oh, jeez.
oh, rats.
Oh, my goodness. Did you send it to Christine? Maybe I have a.
I did send it to Christine.
All right, let me see if I can get it from my.
Yes, I did. I apologize, people. This is why I have children. I'm technically just a nightmare.
Oh, my goodness.
So I'll answer some of these questions. So that's a great question, Melissa. So basically, we average around $150 to $160 of total cost. And the biggest chunk of that is the exosomes. I'm a huge fan of regenerative medicine. I will make the statement here amongst all of you. I'm not a fan of PRP. I have many reasons why, but I just believe that a product that's coming straight from the Wharton's jelly of the umbilical cord blood, it's just more efficacious. It's less trauma on the patient. So the biggest bulk of that cost will be the exosomes. Hyaluronic acid, you're looking at like $20. The nitric oxide, $4 an application. The cap, the one-time use disposable cap is $30. So it nets out around $150 to $160. Most people are charging anywhere from $400 to $800 for a basic facial rejuvenation treatment. So the net on that, you can do the math. And I work with everybody in their individual markets to kind of figure that number out. I don't like cookie cutter because we all are in different parts of the country, and everybody has their own thing. So, and Melissa asked another question: average per patient. So the ROI, I think I just spoke to. I mean, the minimum ROI. I have some people that just offer it because there it is right there. No, that's not it. No. That's the old
not it?
one. No, that's the old one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Away with that.
So you can average anywhere from $300 to $500 depending on your marketplace.
I have a PDF here. Is that what you want?
Wait, hold on. I might be able to. Oh, this is uploading. It's yeah, it should be a PDF. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other thing is we have financing for this group as well, and I'll just speak to that because I know a lot of you are either transitioning or you're in startup mode, or maybe you're not even out doing in your permanent position. Anyway. Sam Young, who does the financing, actually no longer takes a look at how long you've been in business and things like that. They look at how long you've had your license. And that is really advantageous as well. It shows that you've been around for X amount of years, and that has the ability to get people financed for the equipment as well. Yes, there it is. Thank you, Katie.
There it is. All right.
All right. So if you can blow that up, Katie, can you blow that up, or is it blowing up?
That is as blown up as it gets.
Okay, that's not on me then. Okay. So what you get basically, and
Was
yeah,
that
that's
better?
right. So Katie twisted my arm. We have developed we've developed a package with one handle, but it has two heads, one for the face, neck, décolleté, the other for the hair. It normally sells for $18,995. Katie twisted my arm, and I reduced the price for her for this group exclusively. And it also comes with things. I've been in this industry off and on for 30 years. And one of the things that I've always been very disappointed with sales reps and manufacturers and device companies is they're happy to sell you a device. They're happy to show you how to use it. But after that, you're kind of on your own. And I figured out, no, that's not the way to do this. The way to do this is not only do you educate them, teach them how to use it, but when you walk out the door, you have them prepared so that 6 to 8 people can walk in right behind you and they can begin generating revenue. So I've put together a package where when I show up and the device shows up, you will have everything in your hand ready to treat people, and you will understand exactly what everything is and why you use it. The other thing is we will customize brochures and templates for you, as well as, and it's not on the screen, but we will also create, we've created 5 to 7 different Instagram blasts, announcing that you're doing it, announcing different treatments, things like that. You have the ability to customize those. I have a marketing director. If you tell me what you would like, she will do it for you for purchasing the device from us as well. So it's kind of, it's kind of like a business in the box is the concept that I came up with. And I want, like I said, I don't want to walk out the door and you're on your own. So.
Yeah, you also had another protocol that I believe Scott was using for the jowls and neck, which is that's a very difficult area to get to, yeah, I mean it's Botox isn't great for that at all, and fillers just makes it heavier. But I mean, you want to talk a little bit about what you guys
for reminding me. Yes, there's so much. So of course we're big on our facial rejuvenation, our hair restoration. But one of the things that started to make its way around the meetings is the hyperdilution of CAHA or Radius and PLLA or Sculptra. So it started out where they were hyperdiluting these products. CAHA is 3-to-1, 4-to-1, give or take. And the PLLA is a little bit more, but they were injecting things into the neck with cannulas and needles. When you hyperdilute those products at a 3-to-1 ratio, you are then able to actually paint them onto the neck, and they will infuse my device, the DEP, will infuse those products down into the reticular dermis for that biostimulation that they're looking for. And again, in a uniform application, as I stated earlier, predictive permeation. This is starting to really take off and create a life of its own, because clearly patients don't like cannulas or needles. You are able to do this. And the other thing that's really cool is CAHA Radius comes in a 1.5 ml syringe. You are able to hyperdilute that. If you go 3-to-1, so that's 4.5. You've got 6 mLs total of solution. That treats 2 necks. So there's no waste to the product either. You need a thin coat of 3 mLs roughly per neck is the average I'm finding out. And my device will go ahead and infuse that in. You do that 2 or 3 times over the course of 90 days. And the patient's neck will get tighter. All those wrinkles and dimples and lines will fill in, and they will be much happier. Yeah. And PLLA, the same thing as well.
And Sculptra, you said?
Yeah, Sculptra's PLLA. Yeah, polylactic acid.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's really neat, especially because like my base is like 50 plus, and the gels are coming, and it's just kind of like, what do I do? And it's like, oh, I don't know, facelift, I don't know. But this can stall them for another up to 10 years. If they're eventually going to need it. Yeah.
Well,
so
I get such a kick, and this is awful to say, but you watch TV and you see these news anchors and they got the great facelift, right? And then you look, 2 inches south on the neck, and you're like, oops, they missed something.
They missed a lot. Yeah.
I'm like, nice work, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little scorned. I've been in the industry for 30 years. So, all right, I have a question from Nikilia Field. Can you use treatments for knees? The answer is no. I'm assuming you're looking to infuse something that would negate knee pain, perhaps. If you
maybe crepey knees.
Oh, yeah, crepey knees. Oh, crepey knees, crepey thighs. The copper pep all the way. Copper peptide. Yep. I have a serum that we sell on our e-commerce. I know I've given you some, Katie. But that intermixed with a little bit of hyaluronic acid and driven in with the device does wonders. Arms, I mean, anywhere the skin's crepey. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I called you and told you that, I had my squash teacher. She had these chemical burns on the palms of her hand. Yeah. And, my first thought was, the nitric oxide with hyaluronic acid. And we did some vitamin C and peptides and infused that into her hands. And they cleared up really nicely.
Awesome.
That did really, really well. Yeah.
Did you do any type of mechanical or chemical removal of what dermis was left on the palms, or you went straight in?
No, we just because she had some peeling, and we left it on. I put the nitric oxide on it, and then used, because they were tender, and I didn't want to start peeling that stuff off. But
I can imagine. Yeah, I remember us having that conversation about 2 weeks ago. So, and so PRP. You can infuse it, but again, I'm trying to. I think I've answered your question, but if you're trying to infuse PRP into a joint, no, it only goes 3 to 5 millimeters deep. So we're talking my range is right above the sub-Q juncture. So I like to tell people we hit the sweet spot of the reticular dermis, and really that's where you want all of these quality products to be, because that's where they're most effective.
Yeah, and in general, like especially PRP, like when you think about the patient population that needs PRP, they generally don't have the best PRP left, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean, when you're 18, your PRP is great, right? When
right.
you're 58, your PRP might not be so great, and maybe it's just using kind of like not so great product. And so the exosomes that David's been talking about is really next level, next generation. Do you want to talk a little bit about exosomes and?
Sure, absolutely, if they'd like to hear about it. So I'm a huge fan of exosomes. I spent the last 8 years of my career until I stumbled across this device doing regenerative medicine. Started out with stem cells, intra-articular injections. The FDA kind of put a stop to that, and the next thing you know, the exosomes were out. The FDA kind of put a stop to that. But when I came across this device, the FDA was on the verge of labeling all regenerative products like exosomes, cosmetic and topical. And I had that moment, Katie, that I told you when we met, where the chocolate and the peanut butter come together. And I was like, oh, I know where I want to use this device, because I had the regenerative experience, but gosh, I had much more years in the aesthetic space, and I saw more needles than I care to think about. And that was really the genesis. So exosomes are great. Exosomes, if you may or may not know, are derived from stem cells. They are actually the workhorse of the stem cells that orchestrates the body's healing. And I like to tell people that stem cells are the mailman, but the exosomes are the mail, and that's what you want. And there's a lot of companies out there. And the one thing that you need to look at if you are using an exosome product is make sure that there is a count on your bottle, and make sure that they tell you that it does have exosomes. And you should require them to provide you with a nanocyte 300 report. That is a huge piece of very expensive equipment that actually will measure a lot of exosomes before it's loaded into a vial to be shipped out, to be cryofrozen and then shipped out. And it will tell them exactly how many billions are in place. So with that said, I use a company called Resilier Exosomes. They are based out of Rochester, New York, Fairport, New York, actually. It is a family-owned business. It's very interesting. So they have the cosmetic and topical side with the exosomes, but they're also working hand in hand with the FDA and Rochester University doing studies for other things with the exosomes on the medical side of the fence. So I like the idea that they're not just there to make money in the aesthetic space, but they're trying to advance science and medicine as well. They have a great product. It has a great price point. The exosomes are called Age Zero, very appropriately named. They are derived from the Wharton's jelly found in the umbilical cord. And they come in a 2.5 ml vial. They're getting ready to move up to a 5 ml vial, volumized, but each vial contains 10 billion exosomes. And every time you get one of these shipped to you in a cooler, that nanocyte 300 report is right on top for your review. And you can see the lot number that's on your bottle corresponds with the lot number that's in the report. So they are the real deal. We found that 10 billion counts are really good for facial rejuvenation, especially if you're going to try to correct something like a hyperpigmentation issue or even an acne issue, or just give straight up facial rejuvenation. You don't really need to get involved with these companies that are trying to sell you 50 billion, 100 billion. It's overkill. And when it comes to hair restoration, we found that that's a really great number too, because as you know, hair doesn't grow overnight. It takes a very long time. So as we're constantly infusing on a monthly basis 10 billion into the scalp, we find that that's a really good number, and things grow back at a good pace and at a very even pace. One thing that you should be aware of, two things actually. The first is there are a lot of companies out there that are selling lyophilized products. And I'm just going to make a statement here. I'm not a fan of lyophilized products. The International Association of Stem Cells has noted in their findings that they have ruled that lyophilized products can no longer contain exosomes, that they've killed off basically the ability of the exosomes. I know there's some big players out there. I interact with them. They've offered me to work with them. I just can't. I stand my ground on that. And the other thing is I kind of have a smart aleck side to me. And when people ask me about, well, why don't you like the lyophilized? I look at them and I said, well, if you and your significant other were going through IVF, right? So you couldn't get pregnant. would you want them to lyophilize your sperm and her egg, or would you rather it be cryofrozen like it was industry standard? And it's stupid and as simple as that sounds, it gets people to think for a half a second. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so this is a regenerative product that's now been lyophilized. You're going to have to reconstitute it. And they're telling you that it's got the same amount of exosomes that it did when they lyophilized it. I'm sorry. I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, but I've got a little bit of common sense. So.
Right. And just for the audience, lyophilized, I can't say the stupid word. Anyway, that's when it comes in the powdered form. And then you just reconstitute it with bacteriostatic saline. And, I think the exosomes are worth mentioning here because they do go very nicely with the DEP machine, and it's a great way to get them in. And just for those of you that aren't aware, like David said, the exosomes are the messengers for the stem cells, but they do not replicate like stem cells do. Stem cells can be pluripotent, meaning they can generate anything, even tumors, but exosomes don't have that capability. There is no DNA in exosomes, and there's no chance of any transmission. So now instead of PRP, there's no blood draw, there's no blood products, there's no biological tissue. You don't have to deal with any of that with the DEP or the exosomes. You get away from that completely. So there's like zero chance of any type of transmission of sorts.
Yeah. And just another personal statement to my belief in the product. I took a pretty nasty fall back in, I guess, February of 23. Yeah. And I have had this pain in my left side, and an MRI revealed I've got a tear in my rotator cuff. Now, I'm a big golfer, and I'm not going to go under the knife and be, unavailable to do that for 8 to 9 months. I had a local friend of mine, and this is an off-label use, but I'll make the statement. He injected me under a C-arm, and I can tell you I have complete use of this arm. It moves fine, no problem. The only thing I cannot do is actually do like a military press with a weight over 20 pounds. Yes, at some point in the exercise, I will have to have surgery, but as long as I'm able to swing a golf club, I'm up for renewal. We did this last September, and I'm not feeling any pain or any restriction, but I'm going to go back to Jeremiah with another 5 ml and, hit me up again, sir. So,
that's awesome.
I have these things and I actually have one in my supraspinatus as well, but that was from a while ago. But yeah, fair statement. I believe in these things so much I have them injected in myself.
All right. So I'm going to ask you in a second where people can get this, but I do want to add in one of the ways that we use this. We do the microneedling. I do have the Morpheus machine, and that thing is brutal. Like people's face after a Morpheus treatment, I mean, they are like blood red. It's almost embarrassing to leave, but we use DEP with just the hyaluronic acid, and just DEP with hyaluronic acid. It's almost like they didn't have the procedure. You can almost not tell that they had the procedure. So we have before pictures where they're bright red. I do like 5 minutes with the hyaluronic acid, getting that all sucked in, and their face is back to like the normal color. It's amazing. So it is really exciting, and it's a nice way to end that, because also the hyaluronic acid makes their face feel so soft and smooth, and they're like touching their, I'm like, stop, like leave your face alone, just don't touch it. But it's, the face is cleared, and it's not nearly as red. There might be a little bit of redness left, but you can't even tell that they were just having a Morpheus treatment. Whereas 10 minutes before, they look like, somebody had ripped their face apart. So
yeah, absolutely. Just one of the many uses.
All right, David. So what do people do?
So as you can see at the bottom here, if they wanted to reach out to me directly via email.
Look at your telephone number.
Oh, that's my 800 number.
I know, that's great. DEP Med 1.
Cool? Yeah. I prefer they use email, or actually what would be nice is, don't you have a sign-up sheet after the attendance if they're interested about hearing more?
Yeah.
If you guys could also please, if you're really anxious to talk to me, email me. I'll call you tomorrow. Not a problem at all. If you'd like to learn more, Katie's got this sign-up sheet. We'll drop you into our CRM system. We'll start inundating you with more information. And when you're ready to have an appointment to speak with me, I can go back through the PowerPoint, or we can just talk about any of the issues that you would like to talk about. And the nice thing is, these devices are manufactured over in Italy. I am the exclusive U.S., actually North American distributor. So I import them in. And for now, for the time being, Katie was blessed. She got me to train her. I am slowly giving that up and turning that over. It's kind of my baby because I've been doing this all my life. And I love getting out and meeting my end users and really helping you guys. But I will come out and train you and spend the day with you as well. That's part of the deal. It's not mentioned in the flyer, but you're stuck with me, I guess. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
David's great. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's been in the field for decades. So yeah, you've been. Yeah.
And the other thing is, this is a constantly evolving technology, evolving utilizations, protocols, treatments, whatever label you want to put on it. And we are developing a system where as people call in or phone in and let me know, hey, David, I did this with Daxify and this with this RHA product. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but write out what you did so I can share it. And we're going to develop what I call kind of like a newsletter, because I don't want to have a company. I want to have a village. I know that sounds really weird, but I want everyone to share everything. I want the egos checked at the door. And I want everyone to share the information so that everybody can better understand more utilizations of the device. And really the end of this is better patient outcomes. That's really what this boils down to. Better and more comfortable patient outcomes.
Yep. I love it. And David has really, he's definitely there for you. I remember when I first bought the machine, you called me like a couple weeks later and like, why aren't you asking me any questions? And I'm like, well, I don't really want to bother you. And he's like, I want you to bother me. Like it was, I mean, he was bugging me to bug him. It was just, it was kind of funny. So
that's how I'm built. I'm old school in this industry. I launched products that are no longer in existence anymore. So it's just really interesting. So yeah. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Okay.
David, thank you so much for this. This was amazing.
It's been fun. I apologize to the audience about the snafu with the presentation. We'll get that straightened out. I'm not sure what happened, but we got through it. And you got to see the pictures I wanted to show you. The acne pictures I just love. And I can assure you this presentation is not, it's never it's always moving. We're always adding things and deleting things. So stay tuned. But if you have an opportunity, again, I'm going to selflessly plug DEP_medical is our IG handle. Go there and see what people are doing. It's eye-opening. 3 months ago, I said, nah, I don't believe in this stuff. Today if I'm not at 600, I'm darn close, 600 followers, and you should just see the things that are getting posted by my end users. It's amazing. It's been a wonderful journey, and it's just beginning, actually.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Cool.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much.
Everyone have a very blessed night and a good night. Thank you for your time.